Hi everyone, welcome back to the Evolve and Execute. I'm your host, CS Rajiv Bajaj, startup coach, mentor, and your guide to navigating the roller coaster journey of entrepreneurship with clarity, focus, and resilience. Today's episode is all about one of the biggest challenges every startup founder faces, that is wearing multiple hats. As entrepreneurs, we are not just CEOs, we are salespeople, marketer, recruiter, problem solver, and sometimes even our own office assistant. I also, when I started with one email ID, and of course, the team grows as we grow. But how do you manage all this without burning out? How do you master the art of balancing time, stress, and priorities while still driving growth? That's the challenge, and that's what we are going to learn today. To help us decode all this, I'm joined with Mr. Bhargav Shesham, a holistic success coach who specializes in helping founders align their energy, mindset, and systems so they can thrive while handling multiple roles. Bhargav, it's a pleasure to have you here and welcome to Evolve and Execute. May you kindly introduce yourself to our audience?
Thank you, Rajiv. I mean, it's a great pleasure having me onboarded here. So, as you introduced, I'm Bhargav. I help entrepreneurs, founders, and professionals to achieve holistic success. When I talk about holistic, we are talking about all the different areas of life, not just finances, where one can experience the core of finances, health, relationships, their physical, mental, emotional health, and spiritual well-being, right? Because and a lot of people take it for granted that when they are in this path of success, they get stressed out easily. But that's exactly where I work on to change their path towards success without stress.
Perfect, perfect, Bhargav. And I'm sure it's going to be a very interesting conversation with you. And this is something I'm sure all startup founders want to learn about how they can actually manage to wear multiple hats, and which is absolutely essential because when they are starting their journey, they don't have so much of funding to create a big team or recruit a big team. So you have to actually you have no option but to wear multiple hats. So, Bhargav, let's begin with the big picture. Why do founders struggle so much with wearing multiple hats, and what's the first mindset shift they need?
Right. So this is how I see. Usually, when entrepreneurs come up, right, if especially if they have a background around doing a job, and then they start thinking about doing something big to, do a entrepreneurship job, or to kind of proceed into that direction, they get that same mindset even here, right? This 9 to 5 kind of mindset where think everything needs to be upon their head, right? When we talk about multiple hats, I just wanted to kind of share something of this sort. People think, let's assume we are traveling on a train from place A to place B, and we need to carry our luggage with us. Unfortunately, a lot of people do carry this luggage on their head sitting on the train because they feel it is their own. So they keep the entire luggage on their head and travel. Even if somebody comes and says, hey, you can just keep your luggage down, it will come to you towards whatever the destination you're traveling. All that you need to see is keep it little aside and then travel together. Now, similarly, how people get a lot of weight when we think about carrying multiple hats. It thinks of, oh, I need to do, as you rightly said, we need to do marketing, sales, advertising. Nowadays you need to be on social media, you need to be on business events, you need to be in all the other communication related events, this and that. But somehow we forget that, hey, each individual things takes their own space and time, right? If we can give that distance and give the priorities on that particular day, what are your priorities, and if you can act upon that, that's when it becomes easy rather than thinking, hey, I have a lot of things to do, right? For example, myself, though I'm into this coaching and mentorship business, I also run a photography business. I'm into a regular job. I write books. I travel places. I spend time with my family. Now, all of these things will happen, but never stress because I'm able to prioritize things accordingly in the need basis, right? So, if you ask me about the mindset shift, unfortunately, people who wants to come into the business, they see that is the only possibility. The rest all they wanted to keep it aside. Like as I said, their health they'll keep it aside, relationships they'll keep it aside. They think, oh, this is the only possibility, and remaining all are problems. So the mindset shift needs is you need to look at every individual thing as a possibility, right? Because everything gives you more energy towards what you're directed towards. Maybe if it's your business, your good relationship will help in your business. Your health will also help in your business. So this shift, focusing only from financial growth towards holistic success, is the way that people have to think when, in terms of the mindset.
Realistic seems to be a very, very strong word. So, time seems to be the highest and the biggest battle, which the startup entrepreneurs face. What practical methods do you recommend for founders to structure their day without feeling overwhelmed?
Right. So whenever people talk about time, this is what I get as the first thought. A lot of people think, right, spend a lot of time thinking they don't have time. A lot of people, waste time thinking they don't have time. So that means we need to act as quickly as it is possible. So see, there are n number of books, n number of YouTube videos that we look into, on YouTube or wherever you see. There are a lot of videos that talks about time management, this and that, but somehow this aspect of time is always new for somebody who is starting their entrepreneur journey. Now, what I would say is, if you think there is no time for you, if you're not able to manage time, the focus is not on time management tools or activities or this, but what you need to focus is on your energies. When you have no time, you need to focus on your energy. Why am I saying this? Because when you look into your day, there could be certain points of the time where you are actually highly energetic, maybe in the morning, right? Or maybe in the little evenings, or for somebody it is in the nights. At that point of the time, the energies are literally high. Now, when your energies are high, you'll be able to naturally manage time well. Yes or no? Things will move forward, right? Things will automatically happen very quickly. So whenever you think about time, think about these energy hours. So I call this as energy hours. Throughout the day, we can figure out what is the time where I am able to be highly energetic. As I said, for somebody, it is maybe early in the morning. As soon as you wake up, you have this creative space for you. You start working there, and maybe in the afternoon, right after your lunch break. Probably for me, that's the time where I focus on logistics or making some phone calls, emails, or some work, not some creative work. But after 4, I feel my energies are back once again. Right now, that's when I choose the second priority of the day, where I can focus more. So as I said, whenever it is, if you look at time, it means you need to shift your focus onto your energy. So if you say one practical method, split your days into energy hours. See where your energy hours are, where your energies are higher, where your energies are lower, and accordingly we need to plan our priorities of the day.
Perfect, perfect. Energy levels are very, very important. I know stress and emotional fatigue often creeps in, for the founders. So, how can founders build resilience and mental clarity while juggling with so many responsibilities?
Correct. When you talk about stress, I think nowadays in India, studies shares almost 80% of the working professionals, not just entrepreneurs, founders, but like everybody who is working, 80 to 85% of them are getting stressed out, right? Stress happens Basically, when you do not have that right mindset towards whatever you're working on. Think about this, like when Edison was trying to find out a bulb. Edison shared his in journal that he has failed for 1,000 times or even more. Now, if he would have been like us, probably the second attempt, third attempt, he would have stressed out and think this is not going to work and leave that job. As an entrepreneur, if stress is happening, that means somewhere you're not aligned with your why you are doing this business. A lot of people come to entrepreneurship thinking, I need to be my own boss. Absolutely wrong way to look into it. Or somebody thinks, I want to make more money. Again, this will also create more stress because you instantly working for a few months, you think, where is my money? Why am I working like a slave in my own job? Right? Especially for startups. So instead, if you can think about, hey, what is that I want to achieve? What is my big goal? Now, if you're able to direct yourself in that direction, now stress uh, is not a result of it because you're becoming resilient towards your everyday actions, right? As I said, the mindset should be changed, and I call it as an elevated mindset or a growth mindset people need to have. Usually, what happens on the entrepreneurship journey, stress happens when you start failing, right? When everything goes fine, it is good, but one step you fail, now you think about, hey, why is this happening? Now you give a second time try, now again you fail, now you again feel a lot of stressed out. Rather, I feel when you fail for the first time, instead of seeing what is the situations which is causing it, if you can take some accountability for your end, right? Taking this accountability on your end to see, hey, what is the problem and how I can fix, rather than seeing it as, oh, this is a client problem, or this is the vendor problem, this is the software problem, versus see if I can do anything and see if there is a possibility here. Now, when you have this mindset to taking accountability and having that possibility mindset to see what is the problem, how can I fix this? Now, you need to add two more things to it, like the courage and determination. Courage and determination to consistently thrive on what you want in this direction of your why. Now, when you have this, now stress is never an issue, right? Stress happens only if you're not very much aligned to your why. And if you have this poor mindset saying, hey, they are the reasons, or the other people are the reasons in our business why our business is failing. But if you can look at for yourself, then things will start changing immediately.
Perfect. I think you have been doing a lot of coaching activity as well, you told me. So,
Right.
in your coaching experience, what are the most common mistakes founders make in task management?
Um, okay. Good question. So, a lot of people, what I found in terms of founders is they go on something called as second trouble. I call it as second trouble. See, we all know, probably, you need to have your calendar set up. Maybe you need to design your day. Right? These are all basic things that most of them are aware of. But in spite of having that, we will not be able to reach that point. Right? Why? Because we get overwhelmed with the number of tasks we see. So I'll share you one example. Okay. Recently I had a conversation with one of the founder. He is into, music and music industry, and he helps people with music direction. He always comes and says, Bhargav, I have a lot of things to do. I'm really not able to manage my task. I said, do this, do this, do that. And he comes back and says, after a few weeks, he again says, I have a lot of things to do. I have a lot of things to do. The problem here is, when I asked, lot, what do you lot means to you? Is it 1,000 tasks? Is it 100? Is it 10 or is it 5? Have you ever listed it out? Now, then he started understanding, when he listed down, there were only 10 to 15 things he have to do. But unfortunately, people keep a lot of weight on themselves thinking there are a lot of things to do. But when you list it down, it is just 5 or 10 things. And the problem is, when you think about there are a lot of things, then a lot of things, now your brain plays a game with you. right? Because it wants you to keep it in survival mode and says, oh, you don't do the lot of things. You do just simple things. Just work on simple things, and you start working on simple things, which will not give you any results. So this is one recommendation I always give in terms of task management is if you have 10 things to do, if you have 10 things to do in priority, now list down all of them. Out of this 10, the top two priorities are the only priorities you need to work on that particular day. The rest eight are there for just to get you distracted. Now, what happens? You start on task one, task two, task three, task four. You jump on, keep on jumping rather than if you can focus on just one and two. By end of the month, you will be focusing on 60 most important tasks rather than distracting all over yourself, right? So managing these top two priorities is what I would say. It's a easy
Perfect.
thing. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Can you share some systems or tools that can help founders prioritize effectively when everything seems urgent? Because you are always having rush of things coming in. So how do they prioritize?
Correct. So the problem is if you're an entrepreneur, you cannot come up with the same mindsets of, maybe if you're into a job or maybe if you're into smaller business, you cannot bring that same mindset here, right? So in terms of tools and systems, I think as an entrepreneur, the biggest tool you need to have is having the ability to clearly see what needs to be prioritized, right? Like, what is that one big bang you can do to kind of tailor down, or you can, kind of achieve all the other things. You can spend little more time in terms of thinking, hey, what could be that one big thing I do right now which will have a huge impact on my business, than rather than working on smaller things day by day very focusedly, right? So if you have this capability of prioritizing things, as in again, as I said earlier, just choosing top two. And what are these top two? It cannot be anything random, but it should be something which will give you that higher effect. Like you're able to just work on this and 80% of your actual job is done. If you're able to prioritize that thing, if you have the capabilities, if you build those capabilities to see with clarity, I think that's the best tool that somebody could have, rather than thinking about what app I can look into, or what is the what kind of calendar is there, a new gadget. Rather than this, I think if you have this ability to clearly sort out your priorities for your business need, that's the best tool anybody can have. And I would also say the biggest concern with a lot of entrepreneurs is they think they need to do a lot of things by themselves, right? Oh, I need to do it because if I do it, I do it perfect. If I give it to my team, they don't give the same results. A lot of times a conversation like this happens to me. I say, hey, go ahead and delegate this work. Now they start saying, no, no, I've tried already several times. And you know what happened when I've given them, we lost this, we lost that. And they immediately take up charge in every individual aspect. So you should be able to delegate things to people with trust.
That was precisely my next question. So, the biggest issue in their mind is that, one, they feel that they are the best and they can do this job the best
Correct.
way. And
Mhm.
second, they have a fear of losing control.
Mhm.
So, how do we actually address this issue to motivate the founders to delegate without having fear of losing control?
Correct. So I see. I just wanted to ask: is there a company, a solopreneur company, making billions and millions of money and also impacting the same way? I think it is zero. It comes down to zero because you cannot work always all alone, right? Without delegation, that is not possible. Again, delegation, I think we need to look into the perspective of delegation, right? We are thinking we might lose control, but actually it works the opposite way, right? This is how I do it with my teams. If there is anything which I already know, it could be solved maybe in a day, But I don't sit and start working on this. I delegate it to my team. Probably they will start learning. I'll tell them, hey, take 3 days of time to just complete it. Now they start working, figuring it out. Maybe they'll do the 80% of the job, but they're not sure of how to complete that 20%. And then they'll come back to you asking, hey, we've done this. We are not able to do this 20%. Now, when you start sharing how you can do that remaining 20%, now the benefit of delegation is one, they see you as a great leader because you are giving them opportunity to learn, to explore themselves, to create something rather than you just saying, hey, do this and do that. So they trust you more and they see you as a leader because one, you are trusting them. So trust comes back to you. The second thing, you're giving them work, the leadership, they see you as leader. This means you will be able to do more in terms of when you start delegating. It is not losing control, it is gaining trust. So that's the direction you probably need to look into rather than, the negative side of it.
That's $1 billion advice. So, how important is self care and mindfulness in this journey? How can busy founders integrate it into their routines very realistically? Can you just throw some light on this?
Right. So unfortunately, a lot of founders be in this doer mode, right? They don't want to take care of themselves. It is like hustle and hustle and hustle. Only then I am doing, because when you see the competitors, especially now, they are moving forward. Now you need to run, they need to run. It has always been a rat race. But this is how I always see, unless you do not have that time for yourself. Even when I say doing, probably people are looking and taking a lot of time in ideation, in brainstorming, in using mind mapping tools. They wanted to do everything. But for something beautiful to happen, it will not work that way. If you're like in this doer mode, always thinking, doing, acting on something, it will never work. But why am I saying this? Because when you look into your life, a lot of times the best idea we get is not we actually sit and think. We just relax. Probably we're just listening to our music and suddenly this pops about. Or maybe we're just doing some meditation, or we're just doing a morning walk. That's when we get those brilliant ideas, right? Not when you actually start brainstorming, in your team meetings, this and that, that will never come up, right? So you need to always take that as your foundation, being more towards yourself, because the ideas are generated, they're self created. It doesn't comes from overthinking or over planning. So you need to go back to that part of your space where you probably meditate for some time, or you do some yoga, or maybe you practice mindfulness, right? There are many ways you can come back to your source where that original thoughts pop out, right? That's very essential, I think. Definitely it needs to be added as a daily practice into their life. Maybe some meditations or doing a gratitude practice, right? Definitely I think that plays a very key role in everybody's life.
Fantastic. Many founders feel guilty when they take a break. They feel that, oh, they have to be there all the time. So, what's your advice on balancing hustle with the rest?
Right. So, uh, probably I have not shared this with you, but I'm just back from a 3 months break or a vacation. So I went to US just to, spend some time with family for 3 long months. No work. Maybe yes, sometimes, I was kind of, getting on a call and see, hey, this needs to happen and that needs to happen. But when I look at myself after this 3 months long break, the way I'm responding, the way I'm able to, handle my team, everything has improved. So there are two things in life, something called as downtime and uptime. So downtime is when you see yourself probably taking rest, maybe sleeping, maybe doing meditations, right? Like the time where you actually not actively working, but you're working in your inner self. Uptime is where you actually do things. You're acting, you're getting into meetings, you're doing something of that sort. Now, people think only if they are always on the uptime, like as you said, you if you only be in hustle mode, things will happen. But look at this. If you don't sleep well, will you be able to act well? No, right? Similarly, if you don't spend time for your vacations or your breaks, similarly, this will have an impact on the work you do. This always also gets a lot of stress, especially because you don't take breaks. But the only thing is, before you take a break, set some expectations. Hey, this is what I would need. And we need to start being okay that if it is not 100% effective in that duration of your break, that is completely okay, right? You come back and try to fix certain things, but just to keep it everything 100%, you are, kind of burning out your own life. Right? As an entrepreneurs, we are trying to build a lot of solutions for people, but how about us? Right? I don't think burnout is a solution. Break is definitely a solution.
Right, right. See, from a holistic success perspective, what role does alignment between personal goals and business goals play in managing these multiple hats? Our topic of the
Mhm.
day. Yeah.
Right. So why holistic success? Because I feel financial freedom is, people used to consider it as success, right? If somebody is financially doing well, people consider that as success. Now, but I see it as a very old game. Maybe 20 years before, 30 years before, you're only working for finances. Now you have good money, probably you will have everything else. But now, having a decent amount of money is not a big deal. Now, if you want to make it more, you definitely need to come back on holistic success. As I said, you need to work on your relationships, your physical, mental, emotional health, your finances, definitely, and spiritual well being, because this is all correlated to each other. For example, hey, if your relationship is not going fine, would you be able to do whatever you want to do in your business well? No, because maybe 40%, 50% of your time gets into handling this aspect. Yes. Or if you're physically in health, right? If you're physically not healthy, would you be able to do something good in your business? Definitely not, because again, your time gets back here. So when we talk about holistic success, the first thing as an entrepreneur we need to have is holistic transformation for ourselves. Then we look into business transformation, right? Because if you don't do this, a lot of people or a lot of entrepreneurs just gets failed in the first few years of their journey because they wanted to do something, relationship problem. They wanted to do something, emotionally they're drained out. They wanted to do something, health pulls them out. So unless and until if you do not work on yourself holistically, right, all it takes is probably few months to work upon yourself to get aligned in this direction. Now, when you feel you are aligned in all these six directions, wearing multiple hats becomes very easy because all that you need to do is, hey, I'm able to manage all these things. I am focused in one direction towards my business. So it becomes easy for you if you have yourself, transformed in all the directions.
Fantastic. Looking back, do you have any client story where founders completely transformed how they manage their roles? And what can we learn from that if you can share that with us?
Yeah, I think I've many stories, but I'll share one very powerful story with one of my clients. I'm not going to bring his name, but this person was almost fed up with life. He was into a normal job, which he does not like it. He wants to start his entrepreneurship. He wants to start his own companies. Uh, but nothing of that sort is happening because he was stuck in his 9 to 5 job. And at one point of the time, this person got literally very stressed out, and he thought the only solution is to a suicide. And before that, Somehow he was looking at me on LinkedIn, he was following me on LinkedIn, and he thought maybe this guys make some sense, and he started reaching out as a final option. Like, hey, if this works, I will continue my life. If not, I'm going to end my life. When I've heard about him saying this, after his transformational journey, once he started the journey with me, we went into personal transformation like holistically, and then into business transformation. Now he started building his business around helping out people to build more finances. Now the same person who was struggling with a lot of financial issues, now he started helping out a lot of others in the same direction, right? When he shared that, if not this one step towards my own transformation, there is no business, there is no job, there is no me, right? When he shared this, I think that was very powerful story, how if one can take care of themselves and holistically, uh, how it can propel them to wear multiple hats easily without stress.
Indeed, very powerful, and I'm glad that you changed his life and saved his life rather. So, we have been talking so far on how holistic management can actually change the life of founders. So we also have a rapid fire round where we want you to answer maybe in few words to the specific rapid fire questions. So the first one is one productivity myth founders should stop believing.
One productivity myth. Okay. I would say multitasking, because what happens in multitasking is brain actually switches between one task to another task very rapidly, and we think it is multitasking, but actually brain is jumping here and there, which actually drains you out. So
Mhm.
I would suggest single tasking is the way forward.
Perfect. Your go-to tool for managing multiple tasks.
Multiple tasks. Okay, I looked into a lot of tools, nothing worked out, so I made my own tool, which is called as productivity planner, which is available in my website for free. So I use
Oh,
that. A very simple
that's
planner,
nice.
but yeah.
That's nice. One habit every founder must build daily.
I would say gratitude,
Mhm.
right? Gratitude too, because we as an entrepreneurs, we see a lot of things happening in our own life, a lot of gifts. So always focusing on those gifts, and thanking the universe or God or whomever you believe in, every moment of your life will help you out. I would say gratitude.
That's that's very helpful for our listeners. Burnout red flag which you spot early.
Uh, I would say burnout red flag. Burnout happens when you work on what you actually don't like. Uh, the red flag is, I would say, probably you are immediate, you work for some time and you hop on your phone. So any distraction is a burnout red flag, especially if you're turning more times onto your phone. This means you are actually not liking the work and you're getting burned out. So the red flag is your phone. If you're watching your phone for a long time, burnout symptoms.
That's why phone companies are now telling you how much time you're spending on the phone.
Right, yeah.
So, good input for everyone. Work-life balance in one word.
I would say it's easy. If you are aligned, if you can align your mindset, your time, and energies towards what you work. And I don't see work and life separately, because whatever we work, I think it should enhance our life. Whatever we are doing in our life, it should enhance our work.
Good. Directive or collaborative leadership style? Which one is better?
Uh, a lot of people face trouble here, but I would say when you're starting as a solopreneur, I would encourage you to be little directive. But if you want to scale it up, definitely collaborative. There is no other way.
Collaboration is the key. So, a book or a resource that shaped your coaching approach.
I would say there's a book called as Karma by Sadhguru. I think that book had a huge impact in the way I look at life, and especially business, because business is a very conscious process, not like a job. Because job, you do this or that, nothing happens for you, or it will not have a huge impact. But business is a conscious process. When I mean conscious process, whatever you do has a huge impact on people around you, your teams, and also people who are your clients, right? Maybe in thousands and lakhs. So you need to be very conscious of that. I think that's the understanding I got from this book. Very powerful.
Great. If multiple hats were a superpower, what's the secret skill behind it?
Secret skill, I would say again, having the right mindset and the required energies. Because if you ask me to keep it as one, I would say your energies. If you have high energies, like if you're able to work upon yourself every day, then multitasking becomes easy.
Fantastic. One thing every founder should remind themselves on stressful days.
Okay. I would say no second trouble. This means, see, if there's a problem, there's a problem. You go and fix it. But the problem is people start creating second troubles. Oh, why did this happen? It should not have happened. Maybe I'm not the right guy to do this. Maybe business is not for me. Now you go into this second thought processes, right? This is, I call this as second troubles. So stressful days, just say this one thing to yourself. As soon as you identify you're feeling stressed out, now you say these words, hey, don't create second troubles. Right? One problem, we will fix it. No multiple problems at a time.
Fantastic. Bhargav, we are coming towards the close of our podcast today. So, thank you for breaking down the science and soul of wearing multiple hats. You have shown us that being a founder isn't about doing everything at once, it's about doing the right things with clarity, discipline, and self awareness. And this holistic approach, which you have shared, I'm sure our listeners are going to have lots of inputs to think about. To our listeners, remember efficiency isn't about running faster, it's about running smarter. Learn to align your time, your energy, and your goals, and you'll find the multiple hats don't have a weight to weigh you down. They can actually elevate your leadership. So, one last word from your side for our listeners and viewers.
Uh, One last word I would say is, see, entrepreneurship is a amazing responsibility that somehow we all got it, right? We should never make it as an unconscious process. As I said, we should be very conscious in this process and do not make stress common in your life. Because usually, as a leader, if you say, hey, stress is common, now you are going to impact your entire communities and teams. So try for it, right? Work upon yourself, have the high energies. Definitely, you will become a huge success in your life.
Oh, that's really motivating. And thank you very much. So, to our listeners, until next
Thank you,
time,
Rajiv.
manage your hats, master your craft, and keep evolving with Evolve and Execute. And we'll be coming with more interesting episodes in times to come. So, thank you, Bhargav, for your time. And
Thank
we
you very
look
much.
forward to,
Thank you for this
yeah,
opportunity.
thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.